custom interior. But is it too much? It's a beautiful day in the garage. Well, it will be once we clean up this mess, because as promised, we're continuing on with this custom interior today. I have no idea how we're gonna do this. None. Zero. Zilch. But what we do know is that those sub boxes fit in there absolutely perfect. They fit snugly right underneath that cross brace. I think a good place to start would be pushing those boxes right up against the console. Then we'll lock them in place. Because once we know where those are gonna live permanently, we'll be able to build off of that. This right here is a thread setter, AKA a few other names. It's kind of like a rivet gun for these riv nuts. Thread certs, grip cert, I don't care what you call them, but we're gonna use these 1/4-20s, because America. And I think we'll take this angle iron here. We'll be able to bolt that to the box. We'll put those thread certs into this cross brace, and Mr. Subwoofer box here will be right at home. I'm thinking we'll cut this at 16 inches times 2. Dose. Something like that, right? Whatever, we need 2. Can you believe I still haven't replaced that? We broke that when Cody was in town, and that was like a year ago. He's actually gonna be here like next month to visit again, and we're gonna chop the top on this Model A. You're not gonna wanna miss that. Yeah, it's not ready for something like that, but you know how we do things around here. We just wanna have fun. And chopping that top when my son is in town, that's gonna be fun. Just want to get an idea of where these riv nuts need to live. They look right at home, right about there. Chipinger, automatic center punch. You can find these and a bunch of other tools and products we use here on the channel at my storefront. I'll put the link in the video description. I got this little chart here that'll tell me how big a hole to drill for this. 1/4-20, 25/64. 25/64. I wish I had one. I miss my 64. 25/64. We're gonna set this aside, because the holes in this, we're gonna do them at 1/4, so we can get a 1/4-inch machine screw into this cross brace where the thread cert's gonna be. Right? Right. We'll throw a quick, cheap paint job on that real quick. I ain't even gonna clean it up or nothing. Paint booth. $25.64. 25 lighters on my dresser. Yes, sir. What does that even mean? Never mind, I googled it. Because we don't leave bare metal anywhere. We got a paint marker here, and we're just gonna color inside those holes. Yeah, which one of them is a 1/4-20? There it is. Boom. Threads. These machine screws are eventually going to be pulling double duty, because they're also going to hold in an aluminum panel that we'll have to make. And we're going to put an amplifier, relays, fuses, whatever electronic modules we might have in here. That'll all be nicely mounted to an aluminum panel back here. You got to think that far ahead. So when we get to final assembly, we'll end up doing T-nuts on the inside of these boxes and doing a machine screw through those brackets. But for now, we're just gonna screw them in. This 4x8 sheet of 1/2 inch MDF is not actually 4x8. That's 49 inches wide. But that's all right. We're gonna leave it just like that. Going to side back here, that'll bring us right here. The idea here is to make this back panel easily removable so we can get at those electronics I was talking about. So whatever panels we make here for the B pillars, we're gonna make them contour into this back panel because I don't want any sharp corners. It'll just look way better. I don't want to see a lot of seams though either, and that's gonna put a long vertical one right here. I think that'll be okay though. Or we could make the lower part of the B pillar part of that back panel. That could work. I think we'll start by cutting it at 2 feet. Keys to my sawhorses. So we got that cut. Now we're gonna have to take a chunk out of the middle for this console. One thing I don't want to do is have any exposed screws or anything like that. So one way I like to accomplish that is magnets, but also building these panels in a way that where they kind of interlock. So we're gonna end up cutting the corner off of this side panel on the console so this back panel kind of locks into place behind it. We're right about 11 inches from the ground to the top of the painted part of the console. Actually, it's more like 11 1/4. And it's also going to go to the outside of these panels. We're going to call that 8 1/2. It's actually a little bit more than that, but once you add 2 layers of vinyl, it'll probably be perfect. Half of 49 is 24 1/2, right? Yep. Half of 8 1/2, 4 1/4. Pretty sure this is the 3rd video in a row I broke my pencil. Yeah, that fits pretty good. Didn't know customizing cars included carpentry, did you?
Hi, I'm Bob Vila.
Just call me Bob Vila's less talented twin, Vila Bob. We gotta notch these console sides out so this drops down a little bit, and it'll lock this back panel in place too. I don't want to take those back off though. That'll work. So now that we've got just the back panel sitting in there, I think we're gonna put the seats in, or at least one, and just kind of see where they end up. See if we can come up with any good ideas. So I definitely don't want this panel to be as high as the back of the seat. You know, maybe down here. And again, I don't want a sharp corner, so I'll have to round the top somehow, somewhere. I don't know, just throwing out ideas. I think the right thing to do right now is to take them subwoofers out and see where they are.
That doesn't make sense.
We know that these subs are somewhere right around in here. So if we rough cut a hole inside of where we think it is, enough for our hand, take the subs out of the box, then we can reach in through that hole, trace the back side of it. Make sense? We'll be upgrading that wire. Well, that didn't work all that great because these subs are kind of flush mounted in here, countersunk. So I couldn't really get the marker in there. It didn't really work. But now that these subs are out, and we do know that the outside of the sub was 5.5 inches from the console and 3.5 inches from the ground. Technically, theoretically, that should be right where we want it. I think so. Close enough anyway. So as long as our cover panel here doesn't overlap the sub, if it's off by a hair, it's all right. You're not gonna see it because these are gonna be behind a grill. Perfect. Now I want to do something cool, but not too cool. We can't get too crazy. We got to keep it simple. And here's my thought. We've been doing this entire build. We built these rear wheel tubs. They curve up and then go straight. They actually wrap around the front too. And they meet up with these angled sides. And we took that and we brought it all the way up front under the hood. So I'm thinking a shape kind of like that around the subs. Sure wish more of you guys were channel members. I'd totally ask your opinion about this. Do I not keep it so long on this side? Make it even? Or do I keep it that way? I don't know. Now hear me out. We made some raised ribs in the bed here. What if we put one right here? Glue it on there, and when we wrap that piece, we'll go over the top of that and it'll just be a little raised rib in it. Maybe. For now, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that out. Let's see what we end up with. I should get a router table. That's what all the cool kids are using nowadays. But I'm just an old guy with a jigsaw and sandpaper. And you know what? I'm okay with that. So the idea here is that these two pieces, they'll be different materials. This one here in the middle, that'll be suede. And the rest of it will be vinyl. That's the idea. But maybe I'll just do suede on the face of the box and round over these edges here. Then it'll have more of a layer effect too. So I cut these curves here, glued them and nailed them on. Put these little spreader pieces in there. But what I want to do is have the top of this round over towards the back wall here. And I'm going to accomplish that with this blanket and some fiberglass.
I'm reloaded!
Don't! A little bit of this. A little bit of that. We got the top side saturated pretty good. But what I really want to do is get the bottom. Now what? I've been pondering over this. Just too many ideas going through my head. Getting way too complicated, but this is what I've come up with. So put this piece of MDF back here. I'm not sure how high it needs to be because I don't know where it is in relation to the window gasket. I have one around here somewhere. I'll dig that up because we're gonna need to know that. Now that board drops down about an inch behind this panel here, and I cut this 1/2 inch strip. So then I was left wondering what to do in the middle. So I whipped this up quick, and I think it might work. And I'm thinking that needs to round over into this back panel. I cut out those little rounded corners just to set them on there, see what it looks like. And my thought is, this piece, and this piece, they'll all be put together so they're one piece, and it'll drop down behind this panel and lock in here, and that should hold everything together. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I went ahead and epoxied this together just to keep it where I want it, and hopefully it can come out in one piece, and then we can attach everything together more permanently. That's what I'm hoping. All right, I'm gonna put some mud on it. Well, it's together here. It's interior stuff, it's not paint, it's okay. I'm gonna try to take that out now without breaking it. I think I got a good idea. Do some fiberglass on the inside here where all these pieces come together, and that'll really hold it. We won't have to worry about it. And then once this is attached to that back panel, we'll probably do some sort of support on that as well. This center section here that's going to be behind that panel we just took out and fiberglassed, I want to cut a hole in that. I want to do some sort of speaker grill or something here in the middle. I don't know if it'll be round or square or I don't know. But behind here, that's where the amplifier is going to live, and I need some airflow into that. I can't totally box it in. Before we get too far, I'm going to run the router down that because I don't think it's going to be very easy once it's attached to that board. And besides that, if something breaks when we're doing it, I don't want to have it all body worked and perfect. So if it's going to break, I'd rather do it now. We're going to glue this together right here on the floor. Have I ever told you how much I love bodywork? Cool thing about what we're doing today though is that it doesn't have to be nearly as perfect as if we were going to paint it. Still want to get it dang close though. That works good. That extension slides behind this panel, and then the front of it locks in here. I'm super happy with how that's turning out so far. But you know what? I'm exhausted.
I think I'll go home now.
We got a lot done this weekend though. I'm happy. But is it too much? Did it get out of hand? Let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed so you can see how that ends up. ltscustomgarage.com for one-of-a-kind pinstripe art and merchandise. See you next time. Till then, here's all the other interior videos.